Welcome
Hello.
to the Bingeability show.
We need a jingle.
Yes.
We do. Or you could sing it.
I don't think people would like that.
I think people would. Martin used to do a lot of singing in his youth.
About youth. I did actually.
Yeah, you did.
But I don't know if I'd ever do a jingle. It's like a certain character. I feel like you have to be a certain kind of person to be a jingle music person. Maybe not. Maybe
you sang a lot of Buble, and that's kind of jingly.
No, you're thinking of Christmas jingles. Different kind of jingle.
Different kind of jingle.
Mr. Christmas.
One of your first businesses was actually going out on when we lived in Blackpool. You'd go out and sing in the bars and the hotels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And all the women, they loved Martin singing Buble.
They didn't. They liked the music.
They did. They definitely did. I had competition.
Funnily enough, he never really was that bothered about me singing. It was one of the things that, like, a little party trick I used to bring up. Like, what's your party trick? Well, I sing, and then they'd ask me to sing.
It was more the genre of music.
Maybe. You'd have been fine if it was Oasis.
It was like rock or indie, then yeah, I would have been impressed. but not Buble, I'm sorry.
I can get that memo.
No offense to Buble, but not my thing.
Anyway, we're excited today because we have just been checking out a brand new tool by Meta, which is their AI.
Yes.
And I don't know if any of you have tried it before, but it's actually really interesting.
Yeah,
isn't it?
We just tried it recently. It came out on June the 15th, and I think it's a real indicator of how search is going and how we're finding products and services. It's all moving very, very fast. But it's a very fascinating thing, really. So essentially, Meta brought this out. I can still say Facebook because I'm old.
Shall we bring it up?
Yeah, bring it up. Meta brought this out, and essentially, it looks very much like ChatGPT. So you can search just in the same way that you search using any AI tool like Claude or ChatGPT. You can search for things, but the results it pulls up is slightly different, and it pulls things from things that are posted on Meta. So things that have been posted on Facebook, things that have been posted on Instagram, it pulls up those in the search results, which is really exciting, particularly for us, because it also pulls up and gathers information from Reels as well.
That means obviously it's Meta and we accessed it via Facebook, but what it actually does is it pulls it from Instagram Reels. So we've just pulled a search here. For instance, one of our partners in business is ScoreUp. So we said, what is the best software or quiz software for entrepreneurs? And it came up with a few solutions, but on the one that so ScoreUp obviously appeared there. And when you click on it or you hover over it, it's showing you that it's pulled a link about from Daniel, who's our co-founder. And it's pulled through based on that reel, which is super interesting because, again, it just goes to show video is driving an awful lot of the results inside of search, inside of AI search.
Yeah, and we've spoken about this before, haven't we? The impact of video on AI search and how it's becoming more and more important. But yeah, this, where it's directly pulling that video content as well.
And showing you as well.
And showing
it's like, here's the real, play it if you want to play it.
And it's been hard, I think, to prove up until this point, like, how does AI find its search results? But this is quite nice to see because you're like, well, it's quite clear because, it's pulling up video that was been posted on Instagram and been posted on Facebook. So this is quite exciting, I think, especially if you're creating video and you're posting to Instagram and Facebook and things like that, the more that you are out there, the more you know on those platforms, the more likely it is you're going to be found by people searching through your particular topics. So I think this is going to be incredibly useful for a lot of businesses. And if you're not already posting on those platforms, now might be the time, particularly if you are posting on, say, TikTok and YouTube Shorts. Why not add it to Facebook as well? It would be just silly not to. You've already done all that hard work, so why wouldn't you? So yeah, it's particularly exciting, and I think it's going to be a new way for people to be found. But it's more interesting, isn't it, because of the way that search is going. In our olden days, it used to be that you just Googled something and Google was the master, wasn't it? It was the you know, thing that we had to kind of, Google say jump and we say how high. And Google is still the forefront, you know, the winner of people searching for things. But I think it's going to be a lot more diluted in the future. People are going to be using things like Meta AI or Claude or ChatGPT or YouTube, or just so many different platforms to search. And particularly with AI coming in and being able to pull information from social media platforms like Facebook is using with Meta AI, or LinkedIn might do something. It's even more fragmented, I think, than it used to be. So it's not just what Google wants. It's kind of like, how many platforms can I be on in order to maximize the results that I get? So yeah, it's very exciting.
I've just done another quick search just to see what comes up. I searched for the best AI tools, and obviously it gives you a little rundown here of the best ones, but then it references certain content. So as an example, you'll see there's a few options here. One of the options is a video from Dan Martell, again from Instagram, where it's showing you the best AI tools with a personal brand video behind it, which is absolutely incredible. Like, all of the reels, all of the content that you've been putting out on social media, even if you've not got the immediate results from it, even if you've only got a few views, there's a chance that it's going to start paying dividends. And a lot of the times people have been creating content on other platforms because they want to get on the AI search results. Now Meta is getting in there, and obviously Facebook. You cannot look at Facebook and look at what Mark Zuckerberg has the power to do and you know, discount it in any way, shape or form. He's always come back. He's always been able to adjust and change things. It might not have always been easy, but ultimately this is their way for us to take what they've got, the market share with Facebook, with Instagram, and start getting in the race for AI, because they have been left behind.
Yeah, particularly Facebook, obviously. Instagram, yeah, but Facebook, I kind of associate it sometimes with those local chat groups in your local town. But yeah, I think this is a really good reason, and I myself are guilty of neglecting Facebook a little bit, mainly because I associate it for that, and looking at the local town Facebook group when you feel like you need entertainment.
Oh my god, the Facebook groups, honestly, it's so funny. If you ever just want like a Saturday night in, then just scroll through the local Facebook groups, because they're absolutely wild.
Yeah, they are wild.
Like, this car's been parked in front of my house for 15 years. It's like, really, it's been there 15 minutes, hasn't it? Get over yourself, Karen.
Exactly.
Anyway.
But yeah. So I think that obviously with that, I think I'll be definitely posting more on Facebook. So will you. And it's a good opportunity, definitely. Going forward for any entrepreneur.
And didn't you say that they're going after like Reddit as well?
Yeah, so they've released Meta Forum as well, which is apparently kind of going after Reddit, which is kind of a separate thing to Meta AI, but a similar thing where I think it will pull from the answers already out there that people put maybe in local Facebook groups. So I'm not really sure what's going to come out of that, but it is going to be interesting to see that that evolve as well. So that'll be good.
Reddit is the one platform I don't think anybody, all of the social media, they've never really been able to tap into it. So that'll be interesting.
No,
especially if you combine that with AI from Instagram. That'll be super interesting.
It will be super interesting. Yeah, I think it would be. I can't think of any big competitor to Reddit. No. It's been very difficult for any company, I think, to kind of compete with that. Maybe Quora, but obviously they've got like a paid version.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting to see that, see if it pulls through. But yeah, some great stuff from Meta. Yeah. Definitely.
Don't discount Meta.
Don't discount Meta.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about how to build confidence on camera. So we've given you the bulletin, we've given you the most interesting news for the day. Now we want to do some teaching and give you a few hints and tips that we've learned over the years from trying, failing, repeating. Like what's the quickest way for you to build confidence on camera? Because ultimately, if you want to get featured in search results, if you want to put out more videos, then you need to level up that confidence so that you are able to record videos quickly. There's times in the past, I can't tell you how difficult it was when I first started creating video. First time I ever created a video, it took me, I think, 4 hours to create a 10-minute video. Just because
I remember you saying to me, I'll be back soon. I'll be back soon. I'm just going to record a video.
I know.
And I'm like, where has he gone? Has he died? Is he
okay?
Shall I check on him? Does he need his medical assistance?
But it was the fact that I didn't like the sound of my voice. I didn't like, in the end, I just didn't show myself. But it was even the sound of my voice that took me so long. I couldn't remember and communicate at the same time. It was just awful. So we see this. I think
people are surprised by that, though. I remember you telling that story, I think, on LinkedIn, and quite a few people were surprised by the fact that you really struggled with recording video.
Well, growing up, I had a few problems growing up. So I had a really bad lisp, which prevented me from communicating in general, because I was worried about, people making fun of me, taking the mickey. And I also had a lazy eye. So when you combine a couple of those things, you're like a lazy eye and a lisp, like someone was laughing at me. I don't know.
Someone.
The creator was laughing, or whoever. But ultimately, it wasn't natural. It definitely wasn't. And I don't think it is for a lot of people. I think it's very rare. Maybe now people coming up, they're learning, they're on phones from a younger age, and maybe they're able to adopt it, but not me as kind of a millennial.
No.
We didn't grow up with the internet.
No.
We didn't, my family weren't pulling out their cameras and video cameras all the time.
No.
Like they are now. So camera confidence was something I had to learn. And thankfully, through coaching people and advising people and doing it over and over and over and over again, you get a little bit more confident on camera, to the point now where on Saturday, I just came upstairs, spent half an hour recording videos, and I did dozens of them, dozens of different videos, dozens of different props, dozens of different hooks. And we were doing some ad creative. But it's at the point now where I actually enjoy it. But that's only because there's a few specific things that I like to keep in mind. Because there are times when I'll try and record a 30-second clip and I'll be like, why can't I string this sentence together? Why can't I do it?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll tap into the rules of camera confidence. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I just need to remind myself of the stuff that we teach. And then it becomes far easier, doesn't it? So
yeah, definitely.
We've got a few strategies.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to kick us off with one of your strategies?
So I was the opposite to you with going on camera. I went in with a massive ego. I just thought, this is easy, I can do this. And then got humbled very, very quickly at how difficult it was. And one of the things I found difficult was when I messed up on camera. I would get really pissed off, and I'd be like, oh shit, I'm sorry. Even to myself, even doing it to myself, I'm like, So I had to learn how to, what happens when you make a mistake, because you're going to make a mistake, it's inevitable. And that took a while for me to learn that. So when you're in front of the camera and you make a mistake, you mess up, you don't stop. You just simply go back to the sentence again. So you don't say anything. You don't apologize. People in the room with you don't apologize. Don't say, don't like chastise yourself. Don't do anything. Try and keep that energy exactly the same and just go back to the sentence again. And I think that actually takes some learning because you have to consciously think, what did I just say? And it also takes some learning, if you don't like making mistakes like me, to not get annoyed at yourself and just go back to the beginning. Because once you start getting annoyed at yourself, you then start making more and more mistakes. And at that point, then you're just in a cycle of getting really frustrated and not getting it right and getting more frustrated. So keep calm and go back to the start of your sentence and just do it again. And know that you can edit it out. And I think that's important as well. I talk to a lot of people who try and do the entire video without a mistake, don't they? And it's just, unless you're a real pro, that's incredibly difficult to do it without any mistakes, or to do it without thinking, oh, actually, I want to change that and I'll go back. So don't think that you're going to do it without any mistakes. Know that you can edit a lot out. I actually shared a video in our community that was a before and after, and it was me doing a 1-minute video, and I shared the 5-minute footage of me going blah, 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 and then starting my sentence again, and they saw everything, and then they saw the edited version, and you would not believe that they were from the same thing, but it's amazing what you can edit out and solve it that way. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about trying to make it perfect all the way through. I think that's the biggie for me that I had to learn.
Yeah, and the people who are great at video, they know that, and they don't stop to dwell on the fact that they've messed up their sentence. They just continue, and they just repeat the previous sentence and then move straight into it, which is really knowing that you can just talk for 5 minutes and someone will take a 1 minute clip from it is great.
Yeah.
And the other thing, so from my point of view, one of the things that I remind myself of when I'm recording and I'm struggling to actually string a sentence together or get my ideas out is I look at the camera and I picture one of our previous clients. I picture like one client who we've worked with in the past who's probably at the stage in their business where they match our target market. So we have different clients, different experience in video recording, but there's one particular person that I like to picture and think, okay, if I was to say, if I was to coach that person, what would I say? How would I phrase my words? What tone would I use? In some cases, you can even actually print off a little picture of someone and have it next to the camera so that when you're looking at the camera, you see their face.
Just don't tell them. That'd be
weird.
Just
don't tell them. Yeah. So if I'm speaking to Jenny as an example, I don't have a client called Jenny, but I've got a picture of Jenny next to the computer. Maybe it's just a little sticker. And that's sometimes enough to just make it feel a little bit more human, because right now we're speaking to people watching this live, people watching the replay, but I'm envisaging this particular client, and it just makes it easier and faster. And I speak like I would to a human rather than me, read a script and speak to a device and then try to remember the words. I've just got a concept I want to communicate. If you want to speak better on camera, then you should absolutely know these rules. Like, I'm speaking to Jenny, I'm speaking to Peter, I'm speaking to whoever, because that's how to personalize it. And that's how to speak like you would if you were on the phone or a Zoom call. I'm sure if someone got on a Zoom call with you and asked you some questions, you would be overjoyed to be able to answer them. It shows that you're knowledgeable, experienced, and sometimes you just got to picture that person on the other side of the camera, not the device, not the content, not the concept, just a person. That's one of the things I always lean on whenever I'm struggling.
Yeah. Another thing that you can do is think about how you're recording it. So I have this method of recording where I don't use a script, I use prompts, and there's a
bullet list.
Yeah, like a bullet pointed list. Yes, of what I want to cover in the video. And the reason I do this is because it's more natural, for one, and two, I don't feel that pressure to kind of learn my lines. You can use a teleprompter. We have a teleprompter in Vidonary that people use. However, sometimes I find that you can tell when someone is reading if they're using a teleprompter, and that's any teleprompter with any tool. So it really is finding what works for you. What works for me is I look down at my prompt. I go, right, I know what I'm saying. I look up the camera. I say it. I look down at my next prompt. Okay, I know what I'm saying. I look up at my camera and then I say it. And then I'm just cutting out that bit where I'm looking down. So you have no idea that in between these kind of takes, I'm looking down and I'm memorizing my next bit. It's all edited out in the end. But that's one way that I do it, and it still comes across as very natural. So I'm not thinking about, okay, well, what's my script? I need to learn my exact lines. It's coming across very naturally. So that's one way I do it. How do you record video?
I try to say the whole thing in one continuous loop, but I know that if I mess up, I just latch onto your previous example, which is just continue, just say it again. I generally like to understand what the video is about. I like to take it as a whole cake and then split it off myself mentally, whereas you just like looking at the notes line by line by line, and it's different. And that's the good thing. It's different for you and me, and it's different for everyone when they sit down to record videos.
Yeah, you are better on the fly, I think.
Yeah, I think if I never had to look at a script again, I would be happy. It would take me a long time to record, but for you can do a lot of videos in quick succession because you're like, I'll just plan out first.
Yes. Yeah.
I like to plan out the ideas and then think about the hooks. And thankfully, we've got the 66 viral hooks as a prompt inside of the description below this video, so you can check that out. I generally like to say, well, what's the point? What am I trying to do with this video? Let's read through the hooks and find a relevant angle, and then just go. Like, do that one, do that one, do that one.
And I think that comes with, you have obviously more experience than me on video. And I think the more that you do it, the better that you get at that. And the easier it is. I asked him on Saturday morning, I was like, I know we're going out with our son, but can you just record these 5 videos for me? And you were done like that. It was not like the 4 hours that you took like 10 years ago. But yeah, the more that you do it, the easier it is. But the more that you do it, you are at a huge advantage compared to other people, because if you can reel off videos very, very quickly, you know, you can stand out, because a lot of people can't do that. But it only comes with practice. You know, no one's born knowing how to be good on camera, so it all comes with that practice, and the more practice you have, the better, really.
And it also works if you have a 3-point checklist. So even if that's not a physical checklist that you've got written down, it's a promise at the start of the video, or an open question, like a question mark, and then the end of the video, like we mentioned the other day during the call, which is kind of like a rickety bridge. It's kind of the opening of a video, the end of a video, and then everything in between is just agitating the delay, agitating the condition or the opportunity, or highlighting it. So my mind worked in frameworks. If I know that there's just 3 things that I have to get across in a video, I can kind of string it together. But for most people, you need those 3 things written down.
You do. Yeah. And I think knowing those going in gives you that structure. Any kind of, I mean, I like structure. So any kind of structure really gives you that confidence to stay within those lines, whether it's a structure with a full script or a structure with some, like Martin said, that structure of a video. And that keeps you sort of in line and not waffling or going on too much, because that's another problem that people can have, is the over explaining or just continuing. It feels very unnatural to just stop talking, especially when there's no one there. You just keep going and going and going because you don't like silence. So it's getting used to being very comfortable with silence. The more comfortable you are with that kind of silence and pausing, the better, really, because you'll stop talking when you need to stop talking and not carry on and waffle too much.
The other thing that I like to do is I like to tap into what I call bar stool energy. So imagine that me and you were at a bar, we're at a networking event or a business conference, and we sit next to each other at a bar. And we ask questions and we have a conversation, and it feels so natural. I don't feel like you're trying to sell to me. I feel like, oh, did you enjoy today? Oh, you know what? I was expecting this, and then this happened. There's a certain style or energy that comes off the back of normal conversation in a coffee shop or a bar, or, you know, in the line at the coffee shop, whatever. And it feels more natural. So what we like to do sometimes is we like to force ourselves before hitting record to meet that energy. And quite often that's what the hooks are great for, the conversational hooks, or the hooks in there, because we force that energy off the back of a little on-ramp. So as an example, what you might do before every single video is you might say to yourself, listen. So as a really nice little on-ramp word, you could say listen, meaning I'm going to say something that's interesting or counterintuitive or contrarian. But if you start with an on-ramp like, I've just got to get this off my chest, or listen, it feels like a conversation. And then whatever you say after that will match that energy. So if I'm frustrated with something and I'm about to talk about the fact that I'm frustrated that Meta have just changed this algorithm, or I'm frustrated because the weather's not letting me get outside and do the garden, whatever niche that you're in, if you start with something like, oh, listen, this really wound me up today, and then say your hook, you can cut out the opening. We cut out these little on-ramps all the time. We cut out the fact that before I recorded the videos the other day, what Lyndsay asked me to do, or told me to do, then I just started and I just said, I've just got to get this off my chest. That was my little on-ramp. Or sometimes I might just say, listen. Or sometimes I might just say, oh, this really wound me up today. And then I'll say the hook and I'll just drop off. I'll cut out that little on-ramp, because the only reason I'm using it is a tool for me to feel more confident and meet the energy of coffee shop bar stool energy. And that's what we like to use. So that energy is so powerful.
Definitely. It reminds me actually, because I watched something about how Brene Brown communicates. And it was really interesting because when she goes to make a point, she has like an on-ramp. And it's something, you know, she uses different phrases. And I'm not saying she does this purposefully, but it's a really good, obviously she's an exceptional communicator, but she makes you sit up and listen. So she'll say something like, this might be the most important thing affecting humanity right now, or something like something. She'll always start, she'll never go straight into the point. She always kind of starts it with something that says, okay, you need to listen to this before she starts making the point. And it's really interesting that you do that to really get the energy right to begin with, to kind of on ramp yourself. But it was interesting. I was watching this video on how Brene Brown communicates, and it was really fascinating to see that that you need to bring that energy to get people to stop and listen, to tell people, look, this is important. You can either keep it in the video or cut it out, but either way, bring that energy to what you're saying.
And you've got to bring the energy, not based on, I'm going to bring the same amount of energy for every single video. Bring the same amount of energy to the point you're trying to make. So if it's a funny point, then bring the funny energy, same as you would in a conversation at a bar. If it's a frustrated energy, then bring that too. If it's the idea of you feel inspired, you're like, oh my goodness, like I've just been in the shop and the customer service person was just so amazing. They were so supportive. I literally spent so much money in there just because this person was nice. Think about that energy. It's different from getting out of a shop and saying, oh my goodness, I am never going into that shop again. The tone, the volume, the speed in which you speak, it needs to be authentic to the point you're trying to make. And if you remember that, then that's the one thing I would say. It
really helps your confidence.
The reason that people don't see success, even though they've got the most viral hooks, is because they're just reading them in the same voice. They're not matching the energy. The energy in which I speak, the excitement, the new information, the new novel, like it's different from thought-provoking and contrarian, and you know, there's a different energy. That's why we always say barstool energy, because you could be frustrated, you could be intrigued, you could be inspired, but you would express your point and match the level of energy. It wouldn't just be the same level in every single video. It needs to be truthful, it needs to be authentic. And that's why sometimes even with viral hooks, you can't do it because you don't match that energy.
And I think finally, I think this is something that I found that women usually will say, rather than men, is the reason sometimes it's the thing that stops them from doing video is how they look in that moment. So, you know, I can record a video anytime, any place. I'm not fussed. But for a lot of particularly women, they're thinking, oh, I've got to get my makeup on, my hair doesn't look right, you know, all these things. And obviously that's a pressure that we have and face, and that's always difficult. And I think it's compounded more by, I really like Cody Sanchez, but she actually reported on this to say that women who wear makeup, studies show, are more successful. But what it didn't sort of tell you, that study, was the fact that it's not because they were wearing makeup, it's because they were more confident. So whatever brings you more confidence in how you look, do that. So there is no, in my experience, there's no difference between wearing makeup and not wearing makeup. I've put videos out there where I look, quite frankly, horrendous. I'm not wearing any makeup.
Never.
I've got very frizzy hair. You know, I'm not bothered. I've still made plenty of sales. Nobody cares what you look like. So don't think that you have to do these things in order to get on video. You really don't. Nobody cares. Everyone's wrapped up in their own lives, thinking about themselves. And if you are there saying, hey, you've got this problem, let me help solve it for you, they're going to listen. They don't care what you look like.
And the very unique advantage that you have right now is that perfect polished videos are very much not performing as well as the rough and ready, authentic kind of, oh my God, I've just got out of the house. I'm late for dropping the kids off. those are the videos that go viral. They feel more natural.
In the car,
more
just
in
like,
the moment.
yeah, exactly.
And there's huge content creators, people like Ryan Trahan, people like Emma Chamberlain, that have YouTube videos where they just record with grainy looking iPhone videos when the hair's not done up. It's a Sunday morning, the hair's in a bun, whatever. They're going viral. They're putting out a lot of content and they're showing up as their true full self. The perfect, polished, kind of placed everything sometimes can stop you from producing volume, which you do need.
Yeah.
And it makes you look less authentic and less trustworthy.
Yeah. I mean,
bizarre,
it is bizarre, but I mean, it's really is about what you find the most comfortable. I just don't want anyone to feel the pressure to have to think, oh, I've got to put on makeup now. You really don't have to. And if you're happy to get in front of a camera without it, then do it. You're not going to not make sales because of it, or because your hair isn't right, or whatever it is. If doing that makes you feel more confident, then do it. But don't feel like you have to, is what I'm trying to say, really. And I think a lot of women feel like they have to when you really, really don't. And if you want to go look on my videos for some inspiration, go on my YouTube channel. Look at some old videos. You'll be like, oh, it's fine then.
Yeah. But it doesn't matter as much as you think. It's just the confidence. That's what you were saying.
Yeah, exactly.
It's how confident you feel. Okay, perfect. Well, that's pretty much wrapped up today. We have a hook of the day, which we do every single day. And the hook of today is this. And I just use this. I've spent an absurd amount of time. Okay. That's the hook of the day. Imagine what that would be for you. I've spent an absurd amount of time teaching people how to record better videos. I've spent an absurd amount of time planting trees in all seasons. I've spent an absurd amount of time writing blog posts. And here's what I've learned. The reason that this works so well is because it shows instant trust and credibility. And it also feels a little bit more natural when you use the word absurd, because it feels like, why have you spent that much time? You must know this topic from back to front. I've spent this absurd amount of time recording podcast episodes. And here's one thing that I wish I'd have known earlier. You can then just teach. When you say that opening sentence, then you are off to the races, because you don't want to use it all the time. You want to use it sparingly, but it's a very powerful hook. Yeah.
And we find this works better than saying, I've spent the last 3 years doing this. Actually, absurd amount of time. Oddly, it goes against a rule, because normally I'm very specific and have numbers in there. But that one, the absurd amount of time one, is a really good kind of descriptor. Yeah, that gets that across. So it works incredibly well. Yeah. So give that a go.
And Nathalie likes that hook, which is good. So we'll definitely be including that one in the upcoming bootcamp challenge, which starts on Monday. Hopefully I'll be seeing you on there. We're excited about
this. So excited. Yeah.
It's there's only a little bit of a break between the last bootcamp and this break, but we didn't want to go in too far into the summer holidays. So if you're interested in joining us, we have a bootcamp starting, which is 30 days of videos, 5 days a week. We'll give you the hooks, we'll give you the frameworks, we'll give you the accountability. We add your name to a little tracker, and we will keep an eye on how much content you submit. If you know you need to be publishing video, but you've been holding off and you need some accountability, join the bootcamp. You can click the link to sign up to Vidonary. This is included at no extra cost, and you'll be able to have that accountability. And we'll also critique your videos. Every single week, we spend 2 hours throughout the challenge critiquing videos. Check it out, vidonary.com, and I can't wait to see you in there.
See you soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye for now.
Bye.